Hey guys, Ash here, Rage Legends. Welcome to the video. It's going to be a good one today. We're talking rare champions here in 2025. Man, are they ever going to consider adding rare champion empowerment? Do you guys even feel like it's necessary? Is that something that you would like to see inside the game? Because I'll be real with you guys. I mentioned it before in the past, and I've gotten a few comments about like, dude, give it up, Ash. We don't even need rare empowerment. But to me, I would love to see, similar to the Epics, the boost that they got as a whole, like the macro boost the Epics were able to get in the game in terms of their overall utility when they added empowerment was really dynamic. It was really powerful for a lot of accounts out there. And I would love to see them do the same for rare champions.
I am here! Coming to the door like a hero!
That being said, I was originally going to title this video like the only rares worth maxing in 2025, but truth be told, there's actually still a lot of good rares in this game. There really are a lot that are worth maxing, but it is situational. Obviously, you want to start out by maxing your first rare champion that you get on your account. Ideally, it's going to be probably a Kayle, maybe an Aethel. I'm a big fan of Aethel, by the way, so much so that I think Aethel is worth maxing in addition to Kayle, like once or slash if you get her, right? So Aethel, even Elhain, I think she's worth maxing, especially for the end game for secret room content, the blue affinity only secret room. But I'm going to leave all of the starters off of this list because, of course, you should focus on maxing out your starter. Full 6-star, full ascension, the whole shebang, right? But then after that, which are the rare champions you want to keep your eye on that really can provide some strong utility on all accounts out there, depending on what you need? Today will be 25. I'm going to try to move fast here because I tend to get a little long-winded. Have you noticed? Have you noticed?
Actually, I can answer that.
I tend to get long-winded. Speaking of which, my only anecdote for the, or unrelated anecdote for the video here is I'm rocking my Goonies shirt, my favorite movie of all time, right? A lot of sentimental reasons. My brother's favorite movie, he passed away, and it's always had, even before that, it was a big, I was a big fan of it. And then I went to visit. I was actually in the area. I didn't make a trip of it, but I went to visit where it was filmed. Long story short, I'm going full circle. It's in like a local theater today, so I'm about to take my son to the movies to see the Goonies on the big screen. I'm pumped, can you tell? Sorry for the little side story, guys. Anyway, let's jump into the damn champions. What do you say? Let's start with the most, I was gonna rank them too, because I love ranking everything in life, but you know, it really depends on what you need. But Coldheart is number one. I don't care what anybody says. She's the best. She's the GOAT. She's still the best out of every rare champion. A quad hitter alone on the A1 is just bonkers. She also has a strong AoE on the A2 with poisons. She has heal reduction at 100%. I mean, it's nasty in so many situations. Coldheart is still next level. Get Heartseeker with all that damage, enemy max HP, full turn meter reduction. You want to make sure you build her with enough accuracy to do that turn meter reduction on the A3 ability. She's going to be a enemy max HP, power hitter, turn meter manipulator, everything quad hitter on A1s. They broke the mold when they made Coldheart. Frankly, they need to make more rares like Coldheart out there in the game. Now, I put him as number two, not in order, but like I'm such a bigger fan of Treefield Knot than most people are out there because I consulted a few tier lists just to make sure I wasn't missing anybody. And man, a lot of websites out there had him as like a 2 or a 3, had him in the C tier. I have this guy at the tippity top in the S tier category. He's the best rare reviver in the game. And he's really good beyond just his revive too. He's got a triple hitter on this A1. I love that. That makes him amazing for Fire Knight progression. It's just a really good ability to have a triple hit on a rare champion. There's not that many out there who have that. So he has that with the decreased attack. He also brings a heal and an increased defense on all allies on a 3-turn cooldown. It's the weak version, but it's still very useful. Very good support to have heals and buffs from a rare. That's hard to find. And then he's the only rare in the game to revive 2 allies. There's no AoE revive rares, and he's the only one who can revive more than 1. He has it on his root rejuvenation. Man, he's really freaking good. He's tanky enough to keep alive. I think the Tree Shield is just one of the best rares in the game, bar none. Don't sleep on him. All right, an oldie but a goodie, and he's still high on the list, is going to be Apothecary. Apothecary has everything. He has survivability, he's got speed, he's got defense aura, he's got a good heal on a 2-turn cooldown that can be critical. He's also got a triple hitter on his A1, and he's got the turn meter boost to increase speed. You want to build him super fast, survivability. He can be your turn meter booster in the arena, in dungeons, and or elite if you need survivability, and your healer all in one. Great, again, Fire Knight. I mean, the triple hitters, I'm a sucker. Can you tell for them? So yeah, Apothecary is still a must 6-star from most accounts out there, unless you're just like this massive whale that's going to spend $1 million on the game.
I like that kind of talk.
Maybe you can get by without him, but for the majority of us, Apothecary is going to help you out even in the end game and restrictive content. All right, let's give some love to good old Fellhound, man. This dude is an OG Void Rare champion. Unlike all the other dog champions in this game, Fellhound's got it, man. Why does he have it? First of all, Fire Knight, he's a beast. He's got reflect damage on a 2-turn cooldown. He's the only champion in the game with a reflect damage buff on a 2-turn cooldown with a 2-turn duration. It's really good. He also has block damage on an ally, pretty nice. But then his claim to fame is the Ravage ability. Makes him the best, one of the fastest campaign farmers inside the entire game. You just throw attack percentage on his boots. I think over 103 speed is all he needs to be, so you can build him slow-ish for a campaign, and he can be an extremely effective campaign farmer, one of the best campaign farmer in the game. Next, we want to talk about Kurzad Deepheart, man. This is kind of in the same category. There's 3 champions, or actually a lot more on this list, that I'm so much higher than most tier lists out there on the internet. And that is Kurzad Deepheart. Dude, this guy is just one of the GOATs, one of the best rares out there, really. Especially with the new-ish, I always call it new, it's not even new anymore, but this Nature's Bounty Blessing, right? Check it out. Nature's Bounty. The weak version of debuffs, they get applied as the big version, or they have a chance to get applied as the big version. This blessing gave so many rares a massive, massive boost, right? Getting the big version of especially an AoE debuff, that's huge. It's a game changer. And that's exactly what Kurzad can do, along with a few others that we're going to mention on this list. Kurzad has a turn meter fill on an AoE on an A2, 3-turn cooldown, and then an increased accuracy, big version on all allies for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. He also brings on the same AoE ability, a decreased defense. Again, with that Nature's Bounty, we could potentially get a big version decreased defense on a 3-turn. This guy is really, really good. He's squishy, got to keep him alive, but he's really good. Next up is going to be Dilgal. Dilgal, I think number 6 on the list. Again, not in order, but Dilgal's grown on me over the years. His A1 is all right. He has a decreased speed. It's the weak version, but decreased speed is one of the most powerful debuffs out there in the game. On the A2, he has an AoE big version decreased accuracy on a 3-turn cooldown. It's a nice, it's not an essential debuff, but it's certainly a very nice one to have. And then on the A3, he's got a triple hitter with the big version decreased defense. Now, each hit has a 40 or 65% chance, 70 with the sniper mastery of landing. So you want some, he can deal a little bit of damage, but he's a great debuffer as well. That triple hitter on Big Game Hunter is very consistent way to get a big version of decreased defense on your enemies. He's definitely an underrated rare out there. Speaking of Nature's Bounty, we got to talk about the guy who benefited the most from Nature's Bounty out of every rare in the game. It's nice to do these update videos because we have new blessings and things that do impact these champions and can impact their value they're able to lend to your account as well. It's Bellower, the big fella. What's up, Bellower?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys.
Ah, man, he's the GOAT. He's got AoE here, AoE there, and AoE there. All AoEs. He's the rare version of Biggin. He's got the decreased attack, decreased defense, decreased speed, and block active skills. All of the first 3 debuffs are the small version. Again, we can get a chance of upgrading that to the big version. He should be on all of your wish lists when pulling soul stones because he benefits probably more than any rare from a 6-star or any blessing for that matter. You can put him in a stun set. He can deal damage. He can campaign farm. He can be a debuffer in dungeons. He does so much. That is Bellower. Let's keep it going with another AoE A1 champion. I really love this dude. He took a while to grow on me, but man, grow he did. And it's Abyssal. This guy's really nasty. He's very good. So on his A1 is attack all enemies, 30% chance to place a block buffs. It's really nice to have on the A1. You want to put him in a stun set for wave content. He's got you covered. Fearsome Presence, 23% chance of landing a stun from artifacts. Sign me up. He's got a decent heal on his A2 ability, and then he's got to increase attack, increase defense on a 4-turn cooldown, which isn't ideal being the weak versions of those debuffs, but it's hard to find a heals and the buffs and an AoE control all in one champion from a rare. He's a situational. I don't think everybody should run out there and max Abyssal just for no reason. But if you need a champion like this, he's kind of more of a mid to end game rare champion, where in the early game, you're probably not going to need this skill set as much. But in restrictive content, he can definitely be worth 6 stars and certainly help out a lot of accounts out there. Talk about a champion that an early game player does want to max. Still to this day, it's absolutely War Maiden. War Maiden needs accuracy. She can deal some damage as well. She brings her own increased attack, which is very, very nice. But her claim to fame is being the only rare champion still to this day with a 100% decreased defense on a 3-turn cooldown. What's better is she's campaign farmable in the Dreadlands, so everybody can farm in the Dreadlands in campaign and get your hands on a War Maiden. She'll absolutely be worth 6 stars, so she'll help you out in the beginning of the game, and again, all the way until the end game for restrictive content, like Centranos, like Secret Rooms in Doom Tower. War Maiden still makes the list. She's still that unique, and she's still very, very good. Let's talk about kind of a newer champion here that not a lot of players have been talking about, and it's Beau Smith-Flannan. I love Beau Smith-Flannan. He's a defense-based rare, so he's a bit tankier, easier to keep alive. He's all about control, and I love control. I'm an old school control Magic the Gathering player, and I love control in the arena, and it extends beyond the arena here in Raid as well. He's got a stun on his A1, which is very nice, escalating chance. He's got decreased turn meter as well on his A1. He has an AoE 3-turn decreased speed. Again, Nature's Bounty will upgrade that to the big version of decreased speed. And he's got an increased accuracy on all allies as well as an ally attack with a random ally. I love this kit. I love the increased accuracy. It's going to help you out a lot. It's tough, especially in the early game, to get that accuracy up to the threshold you need it before you have all of your champions 6-star ascended to take advantage of the accuracy on the banner, right? So Beau Smith, he's got you covered, man. He also has a 50% chance of granting an extra turn when he lands the decreased speed on his A2 ability. So he's tanky, he's got an AoE, he's got turn meter, he's got stuns, he's got a little ally attack built in there with the increased accuracy. A very nice addition to the game last year. Let's talk about an old school again, though. Go back to Barbarians and talk about Marked. Why is Marked so special? Well, she has the increased defense big version. She's one of only 2 rare champions with the big version of increased defense, but she also has block debuffs on the same ability. Block debuffs is very hard to find on rare champions. Not many of them have it. Marked has the block debuffs and the increased defense on a 3-turn cooldown on the same ability. Very, very nice ability there. She also has an AoE decreased accuracy on her A2 ability and a decreased defense scaled all the way to 100% on her A1 ability, albeit the small version, but it's better than nothing. A very good kit, even still to this day. Let's stay in Barbarians and talk about one of the greats. It's Soulbound Bowyer. I have her as a top 10 rare in the game. Maybe even borderline top 5. She's really good. She's got the AoE. Every one of her abilities has an extra 25% chance to crit, which is nice. You can build her as a nuker, and you can get there pretty easily, even with crit damage on your gauntlets. She has the AoE stun potential on the A1 in the stun set. You know, she's going to do great things. She can deal some nice damage with the A2 ability. Is ignoring 75% of target's defense. Very good. On her A3, it's another hard-hitting single target attack, but she has a 75% booked up to 100 to fully deplete the target's turn meter. Very nice for turn meter control, especially in progression in the game. In the late game, she's a great AoE stun set candidate on the A1. Soulbound, very, very very good as well. Next up is going to be one that I don't know for the life of me. My players don't talk about this dude more often. And we just alluded to him when we talked about Marked. It's Doomscreech. So what's so special about Doomscreech? You can put him in a shield set or a bolster set because he's got a boatload of HP. He's got HP in Faction Crypts as well, a little bit, niche there. But what else does he do? He brings a decreased accuracy on his A1. Okay. On his A3, he's got an AoE attack. Doesn't hit that hard. He does have a shield on himself. Okay, cool. But this A2 is nasty. It's a shame the rest of his kit isn't as good, and that's why he's a little bit of an unsung rare. But this could be the best rare ability in the game flat out. It could be, it's that good. But the rest of his kit is kind of meh. But man, 30% turn meter fill and the big version increased defense on a 3-turn cooldown. I mean, this is an ability that most epics don't have. You know, that most epics don't have an ability that rivals how strong this Warning Screech ability is. It's really insane. 30% turn meter fill is elite in this game. That is elite. That's our bias level turn meter control. That's Arbiter level turn meter increase. Seeker, his brother. And Doomscreech has it as a rare champion. I think he belongs to, on this list for sure. All right, number 13 or 14 on the list, rather, is going to be good old Reliquary Tender. I mentioned earlier in the video, there's a few champions out there that people just don't give enough love to on tier lists and whatnot. I don't know why people don't love Reliquary Tender as much as I do, damn it.
Stand on.
She got the decreased attack on her A1. She's got a revive. It's a pretty weak revive, but it is a revive nonetheless. Can be hard to find on rares. But man, this A2 Tender's Watch. It goes in that same category of Doomscreech's A2. It's the best cleanse by a mile, and cleanse is so essential in this game. And remove all debuffs from all allies and a continuous heal on them for 2 turns. A 2-turn continuous heal on a 3-turn cooldown in its own right is very good for a rare on all allies, but the full cleanse all on a 3-turn cooldown, it makes her one of my still go-to rares to this day. Number 15 is going to be good old Painkeeper. Yeah, she's a very good rare. Very good rare. By the way, there's going to be a few that I'm leaving off this list. They like come to mind, but you don't have to max them out in order to get utility out of them. Maybe I'll give a quick honorable after Painkeeper on those champions. But yeah, Painkeeper, she got turn meter fill on herself. Just keep those turns coming, right? A little bit faster. She's got a great AoE heal on her A2 ability on a 4-turn cooldown. Really handy. But then this combat tactics, decrease the cooldown of all ally skills by 1 turn, is very useful in so many situations. You still see her on speed tune teams, such as the clan boss, such as Iron Twins. She's a good all-around support with the combat tactics and healer at the same time. She just keeps her team going, and she can actually deal some sneaky damage as well. Her damage is oddly scaled off of a defense and attack and then HP and attack. Very weird. I wish they would fix that. But man, she's definitely a very, very good rare champion, again, all the way to this day. A couple shout outs here. I want to mention good old Renegade. You don't even have to max Renegade in Paragon to get utility out of the sacrificial ritual, Similar to a Painkeeper, she's reducing the cooldown of ally abilities. And Paragon Cheese, he deserves at least a call out. My man can place an unkillable on an ally for 2 turns on a 2-turn cooldown.
That's a mind-blowing concept.
Yeah, that's pretty bonkers. It allows you to do some really fun things with him. All right, back to the main list. At number 16, we're going back to the High Elves, guys. Is Selenia Nightcloak, a semi-new addition to the game. She's really sneaky good. When you look at her, if you're used to looking at legendary champions all day, she's not going to jump out the page at you. But she is the best rare HP burner in the game. And honestly, HP burn just becomes more and more and more essential every day, every week, every month that goes by in Raid Shadow Legends. She's got a chance of increasing the burn on the AoE on the Moonshot. She's a tap-based champion, does a little bit of damage, but most of her damage are coming from the burn that she places on a 3-time random skill ability here on a 4-turn cooldown. Again, it doesn't sound like much, but our rare options for burn are very limited. Coffin Smasher and Selenia. And Selenia, with all the manipulation that she does, as well as her own increased accuracy, she's really the best option out there. She also has a boost as champion's turn meter each time a burn is activated. So she can absolutely start chugging along in areas like Spider, where there's a lot of enemies under burn, and get those cooldowns even lower and extend the duration while she's at it. As I said, maybe a little bit more to her kit than people first pick up on at first glance, right? Let's stay here and talk about Eris. Eris is also very good. You know, guys like Apothecary get a lot of love. She brings speed in dungeons on the aura, very useful. She has an extra turn if the target is killed. Okay, she doesn't deal a ton of damage, but she has a counterattack. Counterattack the attacker when an ally is attacked. There we go. Mouthful there. You can put her in like a toxic set, right? And start placing poisons with the A1 as well. But her A2 is just so good. It's a 1 debuff cleanse and the big version of increased speed on all allies on a 3-turn cooldown. A very, very good rare ability with that increased speed big version and the little cleanse built in there as well. Very helpful, obviously, in areas like Demon Lord clan boss teams. That is her claim to fame here inside the game. Number 18 on the list is going to be Seducer. Seducer, another very good and very underrated rare champion, even to this day. He's a defense-based rare. He's got a lot going on. He's got a sleep on his A1, which can be handy in some situations. He has an AoE decreased attack. It's the weak version, but it is a 3-turn cooldown. You don't even have to book it up. And then his A3. It's a 4-turn cooldown, increased defense, and block debuffs. Increased defense, the weak version. The decreased attack can be upgraded with Nature's Bounty, Blessing, right? But check this out. The increased defense is fine, but the block debuffs on a 2-turn duration. We talked about this with Marked. Finding block debuffs alone is hard on rares. Finding it on a 2-turn duration is unheard of. My man Seducer, he has it. Seducer is a great rare champion that I feel is truly underutilized by a lot of players out there in the game. Next up is going to be the best rare Provoker in the game. Anybody know who it is? Yeah, it's good old Gnarlhorn. Gnarlhorn is a Spirit Affinity AoE Provoker. He also brings Unkillable. He also is an enfeebled tank as well for Phantom Shogun. One of the best tanks for Phantom Shogun. One of the best wave killers with the AoE Provoke, placing it, not predicated on crits, on a 3-turn cooldown, right? Very, very good champion here when you're talking about control. I use him still to this day in Centranos in a few areas as well. I really lean hard on that AoE Provoke on a 3-turn. He is the only rare to have that AoE Provoke on a 3-turn cooldown. All right, only 1, 2, 3, 5 or 6 champions left to talk about here on the list today. Let's go to... talking about provokers, might as well stick with the theme here and talk about Longsword Turox. Man, this guy is nasty. He's a defense-based champion, kind of a newer rare to the game. He has a leech on his A1. He has an AoE on the A2. He's got an increased defense on all allies and a provoke on enemies. The provoke is pretty solid, right? It's a 65% chance, but it is on a 3-turn cooldown. He's doing a lot here on this ability. He's doing a little bit of damage on an AoE. He's got the increased defense, which helps with his damage as well, being a defense-based damage dealer. And he's provoking the second best provoke ability out there for rares. He also has a block damage. If incoming damage exceeds 20% of his max HP, that's very good. And counterattacks when hit by an enemy under provoke, thus placing more leeches off of his A1. He also brings defense in dungeons by 25%. Very, very good, an underrated, newer rare to the game. Let's stick with the newer rare theme here. I guess this guy's not super new anymore, but man, Branch Arm Lassire is very, very good. He's got a triple hitter. We already have established that I love the triple hitters on the A1s.
Oh, yes. Totally.
Very, very good. An AoE ×2 on a 3-turn cooldown. I love all this multi-hit potential. You definitely want to pick up Giant Slayer on this dude. He's got a decreased attack, on that AoE. Each hit has a 75% chance, Nature's Bounty all the way. Upgrade that to the big version, and a shield on all allies equal to 20% of his max HP. This Logger's Bane is low-key one of the best rare abilities out there in the game. Very solid. He's also got a strengthen all allies and a provoke on an enemy for 1 turn. It's a nice little control and support combined ability on his A3, and then he's got HP in dungeons by 15%. Man, this guy, he was part of, I think, a fusion or whatnot back in the day, but golly, he's really solid. You know what? There's a few solid ones here. I like Ingid. He's pretty good. Tirlock is pretty good as well. I think that there's some potential, but they're not on my list, but like they might be good level 50 candidates out there for rares. All right. How about good old Odachai or Dichi? Odachai?
Odachi.
Tomato, huh?
Which one?
I like this dude. He's a defense base. He's not the tankiest defense base champion in the game, but he's definitely the best Shadowkin rare out there. He's got a provoke, which is very handy on the A1. He has an AoE, a shield on himself on the A2. And then on the A3, he's got block debuffs on a 3-turn cooldown and an increased defense. He's not quite as good as a Marked, but he's right there with her. He does add a little bit utility that she doesn't. And again, he's a good option, especially for those players still working on Faction Wars and Shadowkin. For me, I will say Odachai is not a must 6-star. It's if you really need this, and that applies obviously to everybody, but especially to him. You need to be looking for the block debuffs and the increased defense survivability on your account. All right, let's talk about good old Froban. Ew! Okay, Froban, that is definitely not going to stick. Frozen Banshee, though, will stick. She's still the best poisoner out there, with all apologies to Kale. She's got the turn meter fill on the A2. She got the poison sensitivity on the A3. She got the big version of poison on the A1, and it's each hit has a shot of placing the big version, right? If the target's under the poison sensitivity. Still to this day, she's going to be your best poison option. You play her alongside Kill. It's not an if one or the other. You can run both of them, right? Frozen Banshee still, again, is your best poison option alongside Kale out of any rare inside this game. I got to give a quick shout out to my man, Executioner. Man, I don't know what it is about this guy. It's maybe because my unabashed love for turn meter control and decreased speed, but he's my fave, man. I love this guy. He's old school, OG, but man, he deals a lot of damage. It scales off attack and defense, but I don't care. The result is good. In that turn meter control, plus the decreased speed, plus Nature's Bounty, all on a 3-turn cooldown, with the counterattack on himself, with the increased defense on himself, going into more stuns vis-a-vis the counterattack as a vehicle to land stuns on the A1. Sign me up. I don't care what anybody says. Executioner is still the GOAT. Executioner definitely makes the list. All right, let's end things off here, guys, with a couple like niche picks, but good picks nonetheless. And that is going to be Master Butcher. Where are you? Master Butcher is a little rare dwarf who has a very unique ability. It's a single target, 2-turn provoke, right? So this could be, if you're lacking good provokers on your account, very situational, Master Butcher could be your go-to Head of Decay control champion on that 2-turn for a lot of accounts out there. So I had to give him a big shout out, and one of the newest champions released inside the game, and I totally am blanking on his affinity or his faction. It's Bannerlord, guys. It's Denid the Tusk Knight. Denid is a very interesting champion as well, given that he has a provoke on his A1, 40%, not bad, certainly for a rare. He has a shield, some survivability on his passive correlated to the provoke, but this boom stick is very unique. There's only one epic in the game with an AoE increase or AoE big version strengthen on a 3-turn cooldown, and that is Morag Bronzelock, and he's the only other non-legendary or mythical in the game to have the big version of strengthen. That's 25% damage mitigation just built into his ability there on an AoE 3-turn. He doesn't deal damage. He doesn't really bring anything to the table other than that. But I had to shout him out because it's a very, very unique ability, very hard to find, scarce ability to find out there. So guys, there it is. That's my top 25 rare champions here in 2025. Invest with confidence. They can all give you something that you might be missing on your accounts or help you progress or even help you in the end game. But of course, don't just like blindly invest in any of these champions. As I said at the top of the video, invest in what you need. The good news is rares are still viable and they're cheaper to upgrade than higher rarity champions out there. So they still do deserve your consideration. Thanks for watching until the end of the video. And as always, take care, guys.